20-year history of the face of Mars, paying particular attention to details from the most recent flyby pictures. She discusses the implications of the latest face on Mars information for ufologists. Welcome, Claire.
Thank you very much. Now, I believe I'm going to have to handle my own overhead transparency here, so I'll just have to be ducking backwards and forwards to the overhead projector. I'd like to put up my first image. Yes, I'd like to just come out well enough and that everybody can see it. Can you all see that clearly? Is that a little better? That should be okay, is it? Right. Well, this is the image that was released or taken by the Mars Global Surveyor earlier this year in April. And this, to me, is the definitive answer as to what the face on Mars actually is. And I'd like to compare this particular image to the next one, which is the original image that was taken by the Viking lander, or Viking orbiter, sorry, back in 1976. This was the one press release, and is very suggestive of the face, as we can see in the centre there at the top. Now, this particular image is the one that started the whole story of the face on Mars, and really is quite a saga in its own right. For 22 years now, people have been looking at this image, processing it through various techniques, and arguing for and against the presence of a civilization on Mars. The principal evidence that they have used has been the symmetry of the face itself, and we can see, if we just go back to the previous image, that symmetry really was a complete illusion. What we actually can see when we look closely at the face of the maser that is the face on Mars, we see that all those structures that people thought were artificial turn out to be quite natural looking in fact. And so we have the eye being a crater, we have the nose as a ridge, possibly showing thermal vents or hydrothermal vents, and the mouth has been identified by a geologist as a landslide caused by a process called solidification. Now, not being a geologist myself, I can't explain the natural processes involved, but this particular geologist says that this whole thing is anomalous in itself, but not because it's an artificial structure in the wrong place, simply because it's geological anomaly and very interesting from that point of view. And I think that this is a point that I haven't made in my paper on it, but one that I'd like to make now, and that is that quite often when we look at images such as these, what we actually miss out on when we take argue over whether or not these things are artificial, is that we lose the opportunity to study them for what they really are as natural phenomena, and very interesting natural phenomena in their own right. And sometimes we overlook the most interesting natural phenomenon because we want to ascribe a paranormal explanation. If I could just have the next, the press release. This is the press release that was originally issued with that first image of taken by Viking. And you'll see there that the JPL, or Jet Propulsion Laboratory scientists were quite circumspect in their description of the object, and I can't quite see it and I can't remember it. Okay, they've said that the picture shows eroded maze-like landforms with huge rock formation in the centre which resembles a human head, is formed by shadows giving the illusion of eyes, nose and mouth. The feature is 1.5 kilometres long, or a crossroad with a sun angle of approximately 40 degrees. The speckled appearance of the image is due to bit errors emphasised by enlargement of the photo. The picture was taken on July 25th from a range of 1,873 kilometres. Viking 2 will arrive in the comment, like the schedule of Viking. But they said back then that it was a trick of the light, and a lot of people didn't believe them, and there's been this discussion lately ever since. We could just have the next transparency. This one actually shows the Thank you. This one actually shows the original image that was transmitted by the Viking craft, and it's the region now known as Sardinia, and the face is actually there in the image, and I'll point it out to you. I like to walk around and I feel a bit confined here. Let me see if I can remember exactly where it is. I believe that the face itself might be this way, it's all down here. Just in there. It's quite a poor quality image, and you may be able to make out across here that there's all these little black dots that run in lines across it. They're known as roseaux, and they're little markings that are actually on the faceplate of the camera. The idea behind putting those in was so that they could determine whether or not there was any distortion of the image taken by the camera. The type of camera used is called a Vidicon, and it wasn't like our modern CCD cameras or video cameras. It was actually closer to a TV camera using the same technology. And the picture could be distorted by the presence of electromagnetic fields. So in order to be able to eliminate that sort of distortion, they had some sort of grid, and they devised the technique of putting these little dots on the faceplate of the camera. So we have those across the image. We also see the presence of, I don't know if you can make it out from there, but there are lots of little markings within it, which are called bit errors or transmission errors. And all of these had to be removed from the raw images. I've got two raw images, the two frames that were basically used throughout the whole Mars space to date. If I could just have the next one that shows the other frame, which is 32 A70, sorry, 35 A72. This one is a lower resolution image. The other one is actually the high resolution image. This is a slightly lower resolution image taken from further away. And the face maker in this one is just about there. Once again, we can see there's one of those roseaux nearby, and all this sort of noise in the image has to be removed. We could just have them here. Now, I don't want this to turn into a dry discussion about image processing, but there are certain issues involved that really need to be looked at and addressed before we can understand how some of the mistakes were made in the identification of various cyclonial landforms as being artificial. Here we have a close-up image of the face taken in those two Viking frames, 35 and 70 on the person has. One of them, the one on the left-hand side, shows remarkably more noise than the other one, and we can see lots of speckling there. Now the speckling is less noticeable on the 70, but you'll notice that there's a big roseau on the side of the face. Now when you look at the processed images, you never see all that noise or the roseau. They've simply been cleaned up in the processing. And I think I've got another one there that shows yes, this one shows the some of the images how they look after they've been corrected for the bit error or transmission errors. Now the transmission errors that creep into the whole system, just by the fact that this is information that's transmitted over very large distances with equipment that is subject to noise. You also find that, I'll have to read this out, so just excuse me a moment, I think I'll get this correct. Okay, the communications link between the Viking orbiter spacecraft and the receiving stations on Earth did not use error-correcting encoding, and random errors found their way into the data stream as bit errors. If these transmission errors were in the high bits, they resulted in bright or dark pixels. Now, they're quite noticeable in the